Hey, I just did something in that last swing that 99% of all pros on TV do, but most average golfers don't. Can you guess what it is? We'll find out what it is and how it can help you tremendously to hit longer, straighter, more consistent shots right after this. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. I hope you get enough value out of this video that you'll hit the like button and subscribe. Now, what exactly did I do on that swing? Yeah, I know my swing is not as good as the guys on TV. It's not mechanically as good. I don't practice anywhere near where I need to. But there's one thing I did just kind of as an athlete. What you might see an athlete in most other sports do. And in golf, when you can do this one skill or concept, it's going to help make you a lot better of a golfer. And that's this. My body never came to rest. Nothing came to rest for longer than 1 second. I didn't freeze. I was constantly in motion. So let's take a look at probably maybe the best long driver, maybe in history it'll turn out to be. I know you've got Sedlowski, Zubak. You've got a few guys that are up there, arguably the greatest of all time, especially Zubak. But never know, Kyle has a lot of time left. He might win 4 or more titles as well. If you notice what he does, now he's very exaggerated in this. This is why I wanted to point out Kyle Berkshire. Of course, he's making this big demonstrable walk back and forth, but you never see him come to rest. He's always moving. So it's like that Newton's law. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. A body in motion tends to stay at motion. If you're at rest for longer than a second, you're going to have to do something to what we call overcome inertia. Much less likely that you make a smooth golf swing or a powerful golf swing from a frozen position. But this is generally what the average golfer will do, is get over the ball and then stay here for 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And then usually the takeaway is more jerky. The swing is less powerful. They look less athletic. They look stiffer. They look like they're thinking too much. Is that you? Well, drop it down in the comments. Admit it. Raise your hand if that's you. You stand over the ball, maybe thinking or getting stiff. Maybe you're just too scared to pull the trigger because it's a scary golf shot over something or with water. Let me show you how I do this, how I stay in motion. Kyle is very unique. He learned to do that because it helped him best with his rhythm and reaching his highest club head speed. Here's something the way I would do it, how a lot of golfers in the classic era would do it, like a Sam Snead, for example. So after I take my grip, so once I start taking my grip, I'm no longer going to be still for more than 1 second. Now it's going to be set the club face, square it up. Okay, set the feet, bow. Fit the right side under, waggle, forward press, go. So something like that. So in no time, and I'll do that routine every single time. Now, it doesn't have to be this exact routine. That's not the point of it. You might have your own style, but that's typically something similar to what a lot of golfers, especially classical era golfers, would do to trigger a powerful, smooth swing. So let's look at the key elements there of staying in motion. You might have other ways that you might walk into the ball and set your feet and set the club face, and that's fine. Some people walk in with their right hand on it. Some people walk in with both and set it down and then set their feet. I don't really care about that as long as you don't stand still for longer than 1 second. So once I get over it here and I set the right hand, for me I call it setting the right side under, like this. It gets me square, right side lower than the left. Now I go into my waggle, so it becomes waggle, like kind of like a Hogan waggle. That's a little bit of serves as a sneak preview for what you're going to do with your wrists and even a little bit in your arms as you swing. So you have your sneak preview, but it is also keeping you in motion. So there's the waggle. So once I'm in my final address position here, waggle, and waggle, and the and is my forward press. Again, that keeps me overcoming inertia so that the next move in the takeaway can be very, very smooth, and smooth is fast. Let's look at it from this angle now. What am I going to do? Keep this in motion. Waggle. Now my and is going to be a little push forward of the handle by gently flattening out the angle in the left wrist like that, just slightly, accompanied with a very subtle kick of the left hip targetwards and the right knee to the center. What's interesting about this is it's going to be exactly how your downswing is going to be initiated, with the driving of the hip targetwards and the driving of the right knee towards or even through the center of the stance. So again, I am getting a twofold value out of these moves. Waggle keeps me moving, gives me a preview. Forward press keeps me moving, gives me a preview. And the overall timing is like an orchestra is going to go into a waltz. Let's say like a Brahms lullaby, something like that. And the conductor gets ready. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So for me, it's ready and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is my count that I try to stay with. So you can see there is no pausing for longer than a second there. I'm always in motion, and the whole thing is just going to set my rhythm. It's going to give me a preview for how I want to move, keep me from standing still, and put me on the correct count, 3-to-1 backswing to ball ratio, which all the greatest players have. So there's absolutely a ton of magic here in what I'm doing. So let's count it again. Once I'm set, I'm going to go slow so I can count it to you without completely failing on the shot. Here we go. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 to the top, 1, 2, 3 to the end, with the second one being at the ball. So, no coming to rest, no building up of tension. I'm staying like a spaghetti noodle, arms and legs flippity floppity like the wind could blow them up in the air. That's what you want to stay. And if you can keep yourself in motion throughout the entire setup until you pull the trigger, it's going to make you smoother, more consistent, more powerful, and it's going to tend to make you turn your brain off and just find feels to shots rather than ideas that you could put into English. We just want feels in a swing. We want one feel and one good rhythm. So hey, get yourself in motion. If you're catching yourself freezing for longer than 1 second over the ball at any point during the routine, you can do my drill that I just did completely independent of everything else you do. And again, you just count. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can start that at home in the backyard with no ball. Take it to the range with a small shot, easy shot. It's going to be scary at first, not being able to think, staying in motion and not squeezing. Everybody, we get a little addicted to these things because we're practicing them wrong for so long. So give yourself a little bit of practice with it, and I think it's going to cut down on that conscious thought, get you more to feel shots, get looser, maybe pick up more speed like Kyle Berkshire. Hey, as usual, if you have any questions about this, leave it down in the comments. I love to hear from you. Like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I'd love to have you get more of these videos in your feed so you can get better at golf. Hey, I'm Steve, and as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.